I'm Dawn Ennis.
And I'm Maia Monet.
My BFF and I interviewed the stars and showrunner of Star Trek Picard Season 3 just a few weeks ago. And now it's time for us to show you the parts we couldn't show you before.
Whoa, and there's some big Star Wars level.
So you may have seen some
secrets.
of this, but the secrets that are about to unfold are yours to enjoy.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't spoil them.
No, live long and prosper.
Hi, I'm Meloday Maia Monet. Sorry, almost forgot my own name. First of all, I would just want to say I'm a huge fan of Downton Abbey, Outlander, and my son growing up was in love with Eragon.
Oh.
So all properties you've been associated with, of course.
Wow.
Of course, Outlander and Downton Abbey have incredibly passionate fandoms, as I'm sure you know. I don't know how much interaction you've had yet with Star Trek fans since you're something of an undercover character this year, but if you have you noticed a difference between those fandoms?
I mean, it's been limited thus far.
Yeah.
However, I get a sense that you know, there's a lot of positivity amongst Star Trek fandom, and that's what I love. I think that's what I've noticed, even in, you talk about, you know, previous roles and jobs. I feel that's what's so important. At the end of the day, Star Trek fans and fans of all these great shows and films drive the success of these TV shows. And I think that's something we always have to remember as actors, that without that love and that passion, there is no show. So I'm looking forward to meeting people. Yeah,
I'm sure you're joining a Star Trek family that I'm sure you've been told is quite, you know, a thing.
I've been pre-warned.
Yes, your character is something of what I would call like an honorable scoundrel. I would say a rapscallion, to use even older English
There we
word.
go.
Someone who doesn't play by the rules, and it's kind of reminiscent of Kirk, especially as played by Chris Pine. Were those touchstones, those kind of Star Trek characters, ones that you used to inspire you for your character?
I think Terry Matalas and I definitely looked at Kirk. There's been other space cowboys, you know, in other worlds that we talked about as well. But we also wanted Jack to become very much his own individual. I feel that I'm drawn to a person like that, I suppose. Someone that, you know, isn't necessarily, it's not that they're bad, it's not that they're necessarily squeaky clean good, but he does have a strong understanding of what he wants in life and what he wants to potentially be. And I feel that I like that there's a glint in his eye, and I'm drawn to that and trying to understand that. But I feel that it's always underpinned by something. And I feel that some of his angst, some maybe potentially comes across as juvenile angst, but I think it's built on something else, which I think we uncover in this show. There is, you know, there is a chip on the shoulder. There is a slight swagger about him, but I feel that that's because there's something much deeper rooted in him that needs to be discovered and dealt with.
Right, an internal trauma.
An internal trauma.
Right. You've had the honor of working with some of the greatest actors of our time: John Malkovich, Jeremy Irons, Hugh Bonneville, and now Sir Patrick Stewart. You know, they're all legendary. How would you say Patrick Stewart compares, or how are they similar? How are they different?
Oh, interesting. I think every actor is clearly so individual. Of course they are. And Patrick is a wonderful man and a wonderful actor. He was incredibly supportive of what I was trying to do throughout the season, and I felt that we got on famously. He compares in the sense that as many great actors I've worked with them on all varying levels, and just like any other, he is obsessed with the work, and he is obsessed with making sure that the character and the script makes sense and that he can deliver the best performance possible. And, you know, to be wanting to do that consistently day in, day out, and I don't want to bring age into it, but at his vintage, to be able to do that and still want to churn it out and really go for it, I think is hugely commendable, inspirational, and I hope that I'm in that position when I'm older, put it that way.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Those 5 minutes went by very quickly.
Did.
Yes.
Zoomed by. No pun intended, because we're zooming at the same time. So sorry.
I hope we see more of your character, maybe perhaps beyond these 10 episodes.
I truly hope so.
Yeah. Okay.
I really, really do.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
My name is Dawn Ennis. Hello, Pat.
Hello, Dawn.
You remember you told me my name is Dawn.
Dawn.
He just said the same thing again.
Yeah, I did.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello, Gates. If I
Hello.
may call you Gates.
You may.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to talk to each of you. Pat, are you gratified that you've been able to see the evolution of Picard from gruff loner who doesn't mix with the crew to family man?
Well, the family man has not yet gone quite as far as I thought it might. And I think a lot of fans hoped it might too. I mean, this was one of the strongest relationships that I had in the 7 years of filming Next Generation with Dr. Crusher. And it's, well, we're the last shot of the season, we're all together. It's all of us. And it's very, very emotional.
I'll bet. Thank you. Gates, I think people know you as the mom and as a doctor. But in this series, in season 3, you're a pistol packing mama. You're a freedom fighter. You're also for a little while a popsicle. But I will say, what's great is you're still a scientist. Is that important to you in terms of your acting and the writing that went into this role?
Absolutely. I was very vehement about, I want this to be very well-rounded. The way I believe any woman who's a doctor, who's been off on her own doing planetary Doctors Without Borders and been a mother, and you have to learn how to do it all. And as a mother and single parent for a great part of my life, I felt I did do it. You have to do it all. So yes, I thought that was very important, that she not just do one role or the other. Otherwise, I really wasn't interested. I wanted her to be very well-rounded and have a good arc on the character. She is badass. She always was badass, but she didn't get as many badass opportunities.
It's true. As Pat knows, I'm a transgender woman. And, the concept of chosen family is very important. And I think more than any other Star Trek series, season 3 really does reinforce that idea of the family you're with and the people who love you no matter what. Can either of you talk about that and what it would mean for a transgender or a non-binary viewer like me?
Well, if I can jump in on this, I felt the episode that was written by a gay man that introduced the trill, I thought was one of the most fantastic episodes for me, because it asked people to question and think, what is love? What is it experiential? Is it about physical? What are the components of love? And think about it. If suddenly this person that you've experienced is put into another body, what does that change? How does it alter? And just to get people to think about things like that. And often I've had some people in the LGBTQ community say, yeah, but why didn't Crusher go with the woman at the end? Was she being uptight? And I was, no. It's that in 3 days or 2 days, the creature had gone from, all these different bodies. That's more than anyone can handle. It has nothing to do with transgender or anything. It has to do with change being a little too fast. But I loved that episode.
Yes, thank you, Pat.
What season was that?
Was that like 4th?
Gonna make me look it up.
Yeah,
I can't remember, but I mean, it was really interesting.
yeah. I'm just curious.
And Pat, what do you think as far as, this is the last question I can ask, as far as Terry wants to do more Star Trek? He told me he wants to do more Star Trek. Will you recommend and endorse that?
Oh, absolutely. Because he has done an extraordinary and challenging job with Picard. First of all, having to deal with grumpy old me, right at the beginning saying, I won't wear a uniform,
Oh.
I won't be called captain, I won't, all these conditions. And he went with it. And I didn't know at the beginning how passionate he was about Star Trek. Not just Next Generation, but the whole concept. And so I would support him just taking over the show.
Thank you. Season 4, episode 23, The Host. Thank you very much.
You're awesome.
Right
care.
back at you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you both.
Sure. Hi, I'm Meloday Maia Monet. You can call me Maya. Hello, LeVar. Hello, Jonathan. How are you today?
Hello, Maya. Hello, Maya.
Before we get started, I just wanted to say I was actually in the house for the premiere of Star Trek First Contact, which was your directorial debut back in 1996. Thanks to the generosity of Patrick, who gave tickets to Amnesty International at the time. I'm not sure if both of you were aware of that. And it was an amazing experience, an amazing movie, and an amazing after party, because I got to go to that as well. So anyway, just wanted to ask you a few questions. One of those is that the music for this season almost seems to be, besides nostalgic, its own character. And I'm wondering if that is something that the actors were clued into, that how music would be used in the season?
No, but Terry changed composer. Stephen Barton has taken over after Russo does the themes and Barton has scored the shows. And having seen a number of the episodes, the music is back into the influence that Jerry Goldsmith has on our movies and that Horner has on movies. It's very filmic, very thematic, and he weaves themes of our old shows themes. He weaves in themes of Voyager with Seven. So it's you're absolutely right. Is what I'm saying. It is a character in this filmmaking.
Yeah, it's sweeping, I would say. It feels more like a 10-hour movie than a television show at times. There's a scene early on where Riker seems to display the ability of having perfect pitch, and it's actually very central to what I call like the escape room scene. Is that something you share with your character? I know you love music or a music lover.
I would never say I have perfect pitch.
Okay.
And I sing loud
and well,
but not like our friend Brent has probably closer to perfect pitch.
he's a tenor's tenor.
Yeah, he's a tenor's tenor, and he's a singer.
Yeah, I seem to remember that he was actually not at the premiere of Star Trek First Contact because he was filming a movie with Jack Lemmon, and it's
Out to sea, yeah.
Out to sea, and which I believe he sings in, if I recall correctly. So, LeVar, of course, your daughter is in the show this season, and I'm wondering if there is advice that you wish you would have gotten when you were first starting in Star Trek, enjoying the family, that you could have said to your younger self that maybe perhaps you shared with your daughter.
No, I tried not to be that parent, and allow her to experience the world through her own eyes. I try and provide guardrails. I think I provided through my own example a model of how to be a professional, and then she's just got to do her own thing and be herself. I'm really proud. I had an opportunity to observe her in a professional environment and to see that she gets it. She understands.
You should be proud.
Yeah, she understands. What her role and responsibilities are, being a person lucky enough to be in front of the camera. I got up early to drive with her to work every day because her calls were generally earlier than mine, simply because I just wanted to soak up every moment of the experience of working with my kid for the first time. It's just a great joy, really a gift from Terry to my family.
And she does a great job. I can't imagine what that experience must have been like, but you should be very proud. You once said in an interview that for LeVar, that you would not don the visor or the optical implants, or that they were going to be kind of out of date. Is there something that made you change your mind and come back to Picard?
Well, Yeah, I didn't have to wear the visor.
Yeah. We got rid of that in Insurrection.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember. So that was a great step forward for you. But
I was absolutely open to it.
It was about time.
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah.
Look at those eyes.
Without question.
well,
And what Terry has written and the story that he wanted to tell, really satisfying. In as much as none of us expected for this to happen, you know, we were done. And we were done for 2 decades.
Yeah.
So when this came around, it was just unexpected and a great gift.
right. Well, as somebody who was there in 1987 from the very first airing of TNG, it's been an incredible nostalgic ride to at least see the first 6 episodes, and I anxiously await the next 4. So, thank you so much for your time, gentlemen, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maya.
Hi, Mr. Dorn and Ms. Hurd. I am Meloday Maia Monet, and it is great to be here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I want to start off with a question about Raffi and Worf together, and that is in that Raffi in particular is dealing with old demons in the season, and we're actually seeing, I think, a fully lethal version of Worf for the first time, if you might say. You know, there's no more chains of syndicated television or even the movies in Paramount Plus. So how did you incorporate this gift from the writers to like add more dimension to your characters?
Well, I think, you know, Terry's been phenomenal about like collaborating. And when he first pitched this season, we did talk about, you know, the journey of Raffi. And, you know, it was just really important for me to continue what we had started in the first and second season, because I didn't want to, like, you know, when you're telling the story and the life of a person who's an addict, we're an addict for our entire life. If
Yes.
we're recovering, we're a recovering addict. If, you know, we stumble, we're an addict. When you have an addiction, it's a lifelong, you know, dreadful Pandora's box that you can't get out of. So I didn't want to like just drop that and she's all of a sudden like, hey, how you doing? You know, everything's good. You know, I thought it was really important for you to still see this person struggle, because we all struggle. But I love that she's on a journey of healing. You know, she's on a journey. I should just say she's on a journey. And, you know, we didn't necessarily have a journey in the first 2 seasons with her character, but you definitely get that now, and that I thought was really important. What about you? What about the different layers?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, he is more dangerous, and a lot of it is, some of it is because we don't have the constraints of network television or, you know, PG ratings and stuff like that. And I thought it was a good thing that they went in that direction, because it, you know, the one thing about Worf is that you never wanted to see him become, you know, like mild, you know, and sort of, you know, okay, you know,
No.
that's not who he is. And I think the Worf fans, you know, love to see that about him. And so it was, like I said, when I saw what they were going to do, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, although he does say he's a pacifist, and then Riker says we're all going to die.
I'll tell you a funny story. When we shot that scene, I was like, yeah, okay. You know, I wasn't like, you know, wow, that.
Right.
But when I saw it,
Yes.
I laughed my ass off.
You're like,
yeah.
it's perfect. It had to be there. It had
So
to be there.
Okay, this question is for Michael, if I can call you Michael. Early in our reintroduction to Worf, we hear a Berlioz opera playing. I know that may not have been on set, but they introduce that after. But it's the same opera that Picard is listening to in First Contact, early on in the movie as well. Were you made aware of that at the time?
No, we didn't hear anything like
Yeah.
that. That was, and Terry Matalas is a big Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
So I would say that it wasn't surprise that he did that. I thought it was, oh, cool. And so you understood that he's a fan. Only really hardcore fans would kind of get that. You'd have to
Yeah.
know the show and know the movie and everything. So
Yeah.
Done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to the rest of the season.
cool.
And in particular for Rafi, maybe to get back with Seven. I think lesbian drama dictates that. You got to get back
That's
over,
right.
over together again if you're a true lesbian. And so look forward to that.
I
But,
have my U-Haul. You know how it is.
that's right.
You're good,
Thank you. Well, I'm in on the show, of course. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Jeri. I am Meloday Maia Monet. And I wanted to start off with something that Jeri did actually shortly after the trailer dropped for season 3 on social media. And that was you bragged about your friend Todd. And I wanted to know if that was a relationship that predated Star Trek.
It did not predate Star Trek.
Mhm.
But I have become, watching him play this role, I have become his biggest fan. I, honest to God, cannot imagine anyone playing this role, and certainly no one doing it as well as Todd did.
Right.
And I legitimately cannot wait for everyone to see this and to meet him and to meet Captain Shaw. And oh my God, and love to hate him as much as I do. And he's just, he's the best. He's the best.
Yeah.
I'm his biggest fan.
It is quite a performance, I have to say. It's not your usual kind of captain that you're used to.
No.
No,
Yeah.
it is not. He's a delightful bastard. Yeah, they wrote me a meal. And I think the beauty of having 10 episodes to tell the story. And it's interesting because Shaw is not a character on Next Generation. He's a character on Picard. And so he was treated as part of the tapestry of the whole season. And so they give him an arc and they give him as much care that they're giving the legacy performers as well. And it was such a rare and wonderful opportunity to jump in.
And you killed
Bless you.
it.
Yeah, having seen the first 6 episodes already, yeah, I would say so for sure. I would say that the relationship, though, between Seven, or Hanson, as Shaw refers to her, and Captain Shaw is tense. I guess
That's a very apt description. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
almost as if he was assigned Seven against his, objections. Have either one of you been given any thought to the
He was
backstory?
assigned 7 against his objection.
No, nobody's saying that. I'm just saying.
No, I think he chose 7 as his first officer for therapeutic reasons, and as well as I think a captain chooses a first officer that is challenges him, that is antithetical to his own personal style. He needs that outside voice in order to be an effective leader himself.
This is not your first foray into Trek, of course. You played a
No.
Romulan on Enterprise as well. What would you say is the main difference between the 2 shows?
The ears. That's it. End of differences. No, like when I did that show, this show is, I think there's a deep beating heart in this show, and it is being welcomed into a family. When I did Enterprise, I was sort of welcomed into a franchise. This, I was welcomed into a family, and that's the big difference. And people were lovely on Enterprise, but this was like, oh no, you're part of the family.
Okay.
They'll tell you otherwise, but
You don't pick your family. So I'm just
do
saying.
not.
Jerry, how do you think Seven sees Shaw, Captain Shaw, because they're at loggerheads quite a lot?
They absolutely are at loggerheads. She is not his biggest fan. Like I am Todd's biggest fan. Seven does not feel that way about Shaw, at least in the beginning of the season. I don't think she feels particularly appreciated or respected but they come to an understanding, and she gets a much deeper understanding of him as the season goes on. And it's really pretty fun. It's a pretty
Really
cool
fun, yeah.
relationship that develops. I really enjoyed it.
He's not there to make friends. He's there to boldly go.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
As a quick aside, I hope your character and Rafi get back together. As a
Thank
lesbian,
you.
I am crushed that is. But you know, in the great lesbian tradition, I hope you get back together again over and over and over.
Great tradition.
Anyway, have a
We're
great rest of your-
done. My
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah, that was
That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dawn Ennis. Hello, Terry.
Hi,
It's-
Dawn, my Twitter friend.
That's right. You know, it's funny. I was just thinking, do you know who you remind me of in terms of fan service and talking to fans and being accessible?
Uh-oh, I don't know.
Michael Piller.
Oh,
Almost 20 years now we've lost him. And I think he had a connection with fans that not everyone in Star Trek really understands how much it means that you're so engaged. And thank you for that.
I appreciate that. It's not always easy, as you can see on that platform.
Oh, there are so many wackadoodles. I got to answer right at the top. My friend Meloday Maia Monet is working with me on this. And we just are marveled at the music from the opening of season 1 all the way through, using music not only from First Contact, but from Picard's ready room in First Contact. We hear it as Worf practices. We hear music
You got
throughout.
good ears. I like you, Dawn.
Tell me why it means so much to you that you are involved as heavily as you are in the music, which I've been a soundtrack fan since forever.
Oh, I'm a soundtrack buff. And Star Trek is an opera. It's a space opera. And, you know, I think back to those original series movies. I mean, when we sat down to make this season, and when we were like, it's yours, Terry, I sat down with my composer from my last show, 12 Monkeys, Stephen Barton. I said, look, let's ask ourselves, what would Jerry Goldsmith do? What would James Horner do? What would they do if they were alive? Let's honor everyone. Let's honor Cliff Idleman. Let's honor all of those things. In the case of Berlioz, that you the ready room for with Worf, there wasn't a better. We originally had a Klingon opera. We couldn't really find anything better. I'm like, let's use that. You know, those who know will know, and those who don't will just think it's cool. But music is just part of the Star Trek DNA. Going back to the original series, it's so important. And I wanted these themes to resonate. And for the First Contact theme, why hasn't that theme? They should have used that theme in every one of those feature films after that. It should have been the theme, the family theme, if you will, for the next gen characters. So once it was my turn up at bat, I was like, it's coming back. I said it to Frakes within season 2. I said, when it's my turn, we're going to hear it again.
And he knows music.
But
Yeah.
yes, he does. I love that question. Thank you, Dawn.
You're welcome. I also, I think you know I'm a transgender woman, and
Yes.
I think that these times right now are very fraught, just as the 60s were. And you have a story going on here that is really about, divisiveness and distrustfulness. Was that deliberate? Did you telegraph that we were in this place?
I think it's organic to the storytelling. It's certainly, we're totally aware of it in the writer's room. When you're telling these things, specifically 7 of 9, and some of her arcs and what she's going through, and Shaw, it is without question. It's also a post-war story, post-Dominion War story, and these things, these ideas that sort of permeate about how people look at each other, and so these conversations, without question, are part of the storytelling process. And just, it's how television television
Tell me if you can,
yes.
if you don't
Sorry.
mind, because I only got a minute left, and I could talk
No,
to
we're
you
gonna get
forever.
one more time. We're gonna get you more time.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
You're the first post TOS showrunner to bring back James Kirk. It's an Easter egg, which I won't spoil, but I got to ask you about the Easter eggs. Is that something that just happens organically? Do you plant them? How does it work?
So in the case of episode 6, I knew it was gonna those two ideas weren't originally supposed to live together, the Fleet Museum and the Area 51. And then I said, well, if they did, maybe there would be some sort of beautiful story about evolution. It would be some beautiful story about the past and how the past matters in ways. And I said, I knew I could get crucified for fan service. But at the same time, if it's done organically, maybe that's just part of the universe.
Yeah.
And so like if you're at the Fleet Museum, of course you're going to take a moment and look around at the ships and comment on it. Like that's Star Trek. Isn't it good to know that your Star Trek history is safe in the Fleet Museum in Geordi LaForge's hands? As far as what you're talking about with James T. Kirk, it seemed odd to me that they would just leave his body on Veridian 3 under a pile of rocks.
Correct.
And look, maybe his story goes on in a way that I'm the biggest James T. Kirk fan in the world. So I've got ideas. And so again, one of my favorite novels was Star Trek: The Return.
Oh, yes.
By Judy and Garth and Bill. So I have those ideas in my head too.
For the fans who are going to watch episode 1 of season 3 next Thursday,
what can you tell them about why they should stick with it? Because I think it kicks it with a bang, but I know that the Picard reputation, unfortunately, is that it's slow moving. I don't think so. Give me something to tell the fans, stick with this, because there's so many surprises to come.
Stick with it. There's so many surprises to come. I mean, it's as simple as that. I think I give you my money back guarantee that it's a satisfying conclusion to this season. You've seen the first 6?
Yeah, and also I've seen all the other episodes of season 1 and 2, and I'm one of those people who love Star Trek no matter what. Ghost sex, salamanders, I don't care. It's Star Trek. And a fan asked me, because I'm an administrator of a group, but is it really going to be like Next Gen? And I said, I can't spoil anything, but yes.
I think it's a lot of everything, right? Yeah, it is a return to Berman era, but there's a lot of new.
Yeah,
look,
the characters have grown, right?
The show kind of grows up with it. I think there is. Look, are there things that Roddenberry would roll over his grave? He saw, yeah, but there's things, there's things that have to change a little bit, so I don't know. I hope it's satisfying. We certain there was nothing we took lightly.
I will tell you this: Patrick Stewart and Gaze McFadden both said big endorsement. They want you to do more Star Trek, and I think with them.
Well, well, if it came from them, then we know it's got to be real. So I would love nothing more than to do more Star Trek. That's for sure.
So will the fans. So will I. Terry, we will talk again.
It's so good to see you face to face. And please,
yes,
if
indeed.
you ever want more, you drop into my DMs. You're the
I
cool.
shall, because I think that one of the things I tell every Star Trek person, and I'm going to be yelled at by the people, please just think about putting a trans character somewhere in Star Trek. We just want to see ourselves represented somewhere.
The discussions are often, it's a whole other conversation. You and I should
I know. Next time.
The reason is, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it right. But I'm a white cis straight man. And is it my job to tell that story, or is it a trans showrunner who should be telling that story? So
call my communicator.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly
a trans writer.
right. But you're 100%. But you're 100% right. Well, let's
Trans
talk
first.
more. Okay.
Thank you, Terry. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Don.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you want to follow Maia Monet, where will we find you, YouTube lady?
You can find me on youtube.com/Meloday Maia.
And don't forget, yes, she'll see you on the interwebs.
That's right.
Monet Boudoir is
.com.
also available where?
Here in Orlando, if you want to have a boudoir session.
That's right. You can also read about Maia in Watermark Publications.
That's right.
You should also please subscribe to Substack with Dawn Ennis. I think it's called dawnennis.substack.com. Rise Up With Me is every day, 5 days a week, except for those days when I'm not doing it. Hey, thanks for watching.
Yes, thank you for watching, and see you around the interwebs.